Good day, everyone. My name is Princess Anthony Rizal, taking up Masters in English, and I am currently practicing my profession at NEUST. And today's lesson, we are going to discuss an interesting topic, which is the classroom management models. But we all know that classroom management models is a lot. We have different models, and so we are going to focus with two models of classroom management. The first one is the Neo-Skinnerian model, and the second one is the Conen model. But before that, let me just state to you what are the objectives of today's lesson. The first one, of course, learn the classroom management models, notably the Neo-Skinnerian model and the Conen model. Second, apply and practice the different classroom models inside the classroom. And lastly, reflect on what classroom management models are effective and suitable to the learning needs of our students, because we should always consider the needs of our students for our teaching strategy to be effective. Let me just give you some review on what is classroom management. Classroom management refers to a wide variety of skills and techniques that teachers use to keep students organized, orderly, focused, attentive, on task, and academically productive during the class. When classroom management strategies are executed effectively, teacher minimizes the behavior that impede learning for both individual students and group of students, while maximizing the behavior that facilitate or enhance learning. Generally speaking, effective teachers tend to display a strong classroom management skills. Do you agree with that? I guess so. While the hallmark of the inexperienced or less effective teacher is disorderly classroom filled with students who are not working or paying attention. See how it is very important for us teachers to know and to execute the classroom management effectively. And if we cannot execute that effectively, most likely we are ineffective teacher. But don't worry, there are a lot of rooms for improvement. Now let us proceed to the first classroom management model that we are going to discuss today. The first one is the Neo-Skinnerian model. The Neo-Skinnerian model refines and expands our understanding of behavior shaping by building on B.F. Skinner's operant conditioning theory and incorporating modern psychological discoveries. We all know and we are all familiar with B.F. Skinner, right? Psychologist and behavior analyst Richard J. Davidson developed this model. This strategy recognizes the intricacies of human behavior by considering the cognitive, emotional, and social elements in order to positive and negative reinforcement and consequences. In the framework of molding desired behavior through conversation, let's look more into several essential components of Neo-Skinnerian model. So first component is the cognitive factors. What do we have in cognitive factors? The Neo-Skinnerian ideas, in contrast to traditional behaviorism, emphasize that interior mental processes have a substantial role, especially in behavior. When educators try to mold desired behavior skills through talks, they considered how individuals process information, understand circumstances, and come to decisions. To accomplish this, it is necessary to include. It is necessary to include students in meaningful conversation that promote analytical thinking, problem solving, and effective thinking. Okay, that is about cognitive factors. Next, let us jump with the intrinsic motivation. When we are dealing with intrinsic motivation, Neo-Skinnerian approaches acknowledge the significance of intrinsic motivation, which refers to the act of performing an activity for the sake of inherent satisfaction or interest it offers and fostering one's intrinsic motivation result in behavior changes that are long-lasting than those brought by external reinforcement. I believe that it is very effective. It is possible to motivate students to participate in class and further their education through thought-provoking conversation that appeal to their passions and curiosity. Now let us jump into the third, the positive behavioral support. In this strategy, the emphasis is placed not simply on applying punishment for undesirable behavior, but rather on identifying and reinforcing positive behaviors. Educators should utilize tactics for positive reinforcement in conversation, such as applauding meaningful comments, fostering collaboration, and providing opportunities for students to take on leadership positions. We should give equal chances with our students. We should make our students feel that they can do something better, okay, than they think. Next, we have the feedback and self-regulation. Neo-Skinnerian models emphasize the role of feedback and self-regulation in molding behavior. Students can self-evaluate their performance and make improvements, which serve as forum for providing constructive comments. This helps students become more self-aware and gives them the agency to take responsibility for learning and behavior. Feedback shouldn't be always negative, but we should make our students understand that feedback can help them grow. For the next one, we have the social learning. Neo-Skinnerian thinking incorporates insights from social learning theory, emphasizing the significance of observation and modeling behavior acquisition. Through the opportunities for students to see and imitate positive behavior displayed by their peers or the educator, discussions can make social learning more accessible and practical. If the students are having hard time in understanding the lessons, we teachers can make a strategy on making the learning fun and enjoyable. In what way? We can provide them actual activities with their peers or with their classmates. Because learning alone, sometimes it's frustrating, but if we are going to make our students learn with their peers, I guess it will be effective for them. Next, we have a focus on a holistic development. Why is it so? The Skinnerian model or the Neo-Skinnerian model paradigm highlights that interrelated nature of cognitive, emotional, and behavioral elements. Instead of focusing solely on behavior in isolation as traditional models do, the topics of academic content, emotional intelligence, empathy, and ethical consideration can be still discussed in conversation. Discussions can be planned to do so. Okay? As teachers, we should always maintain the holistic development of our students, not just they are good in learning this particular subject, they are good at socialization. Of course, it is always important to consider that they are holistically developed. Why? For them to be aware of what they can still achieve or what they can learn from something. Because if the students is not holistically developed, there are instances that they might be encountering problems, especially with their attitudes. They might think that, oh, I can already do this and that. Okay? Whereas where they are holistically developed, of course, they will be considering a lot of factors. They will be using their skills accordingly. Next, and the last for the Neo-Skinnerian theory is the ethical considerations. Neo-Skinnerian techniques take into account the ethical considerations. This involves the behavioral modification. The goal of educators is to foster an atmosphere that is not only encouraging but also courteous and in which conversation, rather than disciplinary actions, are centered on the promotion of positive reinforcement and individual development. Why do we keep on mentioning behavior in here? By recognizing that behavior is multidimensional. Okay? Behaviors of the students are different from one another, and it is being influenced by various factors. Educational practices can benefit from using the neo-Skinnerian paradigm. Educators can generate interesting and productive conversation with their students. Of course, by integrating behavioral practices with cognitive, emotional, and social dimensions. These conversations will help the students develop holistically and instill in them a love of learning that will last a lifetime. So those are the important points that we should remember when we are going to deal with the Neo-Skinnerian model. And now, let us jump into the second model, which is the Koenen model. Okay, just a review to introduce Jacob Koenen. He is known for two studies regarding classroom management in the 1970s. These studies emphasized how teachers could manage students as well as the lessons and classroom to reduce the incidence of bad behavior. Koenen identified specific techniques that help and hinder classroom discipline. According to him, the method used, not the teacher's personality, is the most crucial aspect in the classroom management of students' behavior. In his book, Discipline of Group Management in a Classroom, it focuses on preventive discipline. According to him, good classroom management depends on effective lesson management. According to Koenen, good classroom management depends on effective lesson management. Koenen identified a cluster of proactive teacher behavior that distinguish effective classroom managers from ineffective ones. Koenen's key idea include ripple effect, vividness, overlapping, effective transitions, momentum, smoothness, and class management. Let us discuss it one by one. First, we have the ripple effect. According to Koenen, when a teacher corrects the misbehavior in one individual student, this often positively influences the behavior of other nearby students. It is also known or called as the ripple effect. It is more significant when the teacher names the student's unacceptable behavior and explains why the behavior is inappropriate. Okay? It will be passed to another nearby students without the teacher saying it. Okay? It will automatically have its ripple effect inside the classroom. The second one is the vividness. It is termed by Koenen, and it describes the need for the teacher to be aware of what is happening in all parts of the classroom. It is also called when the teacher, it is also known as the teacher has eyes on her back, okay? Because she knows what is happening inside the classroom even though she is facing the blackboard or the board or the screen or whatsoever. Students must know that the teacher knows what is happening in the school. According to Koenen, when students are off task, the teacher should send a clear message that communicates the awareness that they are not working and need to become engaged. Classroom application of vividness, it includes the continually being alert in the myriad of sights and sounds in the classroom. Second, arranging the classroom so that all students are always within eyesight. We should consider their sitting arrangement, their height, their attitudes, their behaviors. Next is scanning the room periodically when working with individuals or small groups of students. Okay, we have to roam around. Next is to, when helping an individual students, the teachers faces the rest of the class. Okay, so that the students will not able to feel, oh, ma'am has favoritism because she only helps one student. Okay, just to avoid that kind of scenario. And lastly, we have briefly acknowledging students' misbehavior at the first detection to let the students and the class know that the teacher is aware, thus preventing an escalation of misbehavior. The next one is overlapping. Overlapping is the process of attending 2 or more events simultaneously. An example of overlapping could be when a teacher gives a student's individual feedback at one station and monitors other students' performance in the room. Conan suggests that overlapping is a teacher's ability to effectively handle 2 or more classroom events simultaneously, instead of becoming engrossed in one and letting them or letting others to be neglected. When instructing one group, a teacher should be able to acknowledge difficulties that students outside of the group may be having, so that instruction may continue. This also includes distractions outside the classroom, such as notes from office or students walking through the hallways. Let us now jump with the effective transition. Effective classroom misbehavior increases when a classroom moves from one task or activity to another. Students' behavior is influenced by the smoothness and effectiveness of transition between task and a lesson or in subject. According to Conan, effective transitions includes keeping lessons moving and avoid abrupt changes. We should establish well-established routines, a consistent signal for gaining the class attention, clear directions, and preparing students to shift their attention from one task to another, and concise explanation highlighting task main points to help reduce students' misbehavior. Conan also emphasized that providing smooth and effective transition is one of the essential techniques in maintaining the students' involvement and class control. What am I doing in my class to have effective transition from one subject to another is that before I enter their classroom, I am standing outside their door for 1 minute. And then that 1 minute are for them to fix themselves, to keep all their notes from the previous subjects, and to be ready in my English class. So that when I enter the room, they are conditioned that, okay, so that when I entered their room, they are aware and set that we will be having our English class now. Going with the momentum. Momentum refers to the force and flow of a lesson. A practical study pulls the students along. Effective teachers move through the lesson briskly and appear to have few slowdowns in activities flow. Maintaining such momentum and having a steadily sense of movement through the class will help them or will help the students or the learners in activity and helps prevent students' misbehavior. And lastly, we have what we so called the smoothness. Smoothness is maintaining direction in the lesson and not being diverted in irrelevant incidents. This management practice refers to teachers' ability to manage smooth transitions between learning activities. Valuable instructional time is often wasted when the teacher moves the class from one instructional activity to the next without them having a good and clear explanation. The time spent instructing students is often known as time on task and can be measured. Smoothness refers to a teacher's ability to preserve instructional time by eliminating many common barriers to smooth class transition. So sometimes as teachers, we cannot easily or we cannot get rid of telling stories, telling a lot about our lives. We should be intact. We should be have this kind of smoothness in our class. We should avoid barriers that could distract the whole class. And we should focus on the goal, focus on the objectives of the lesson, of course, focus on that timely and relevant task for us to give to our students, or the task that our students will be needing in the future. Those are the two classroom management models that I am tasked to discuss. And I have here 3 assessment questions for you to answer. And along with this is the link of the video presentation.
At our school, an observer may see students working independently, performing classroom jobs, or using objects appropriately, and think, wow, isn't she lucky? All these kids are really well behaved. But actually, their ability to do all that is rooted in a ton of structure and routine that we front load. And our first weeks of school are all about establishing those routines. First, think about where you might need a routine. Anything from managing noise level to how students line up, to how they rotate around the room. Do you want students to ask for permission to get out of their seat? Do you want them just to call out? What tools or supplies need explanation for use? Next, map out 2 weeks for establishing the routines. Choose one to focus on each day. Demonstrate and then make sure that you provide authentic opportunities for practice. Set expectations with each routine. What do you want to see? Build extra time into your schedule for demonstration and practice. Investing now will pay off later. Over time, assess how your routines are going and take notes for next year. Is there an activity that requires more routine or expectation setting? Is there a place where you might be able to pull back and have less structure? A balance is key so the classroom is both fun and high functioning.
That is all for today's discussion. Again, I am Princess Anne Rizal from studying a master's in English. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, and click the notification bell for more videos and uploads. Thank you. Bye.